Welcome to Eye to Eye for June 8th. CBS 58 is a proud sponsor of an upcoming event to raise awareness and support for children and adults living with disabilities. Easter Seals Walk With Me steps off Friday, June 13th at Meyer Festival Park, the Summerfest grounds. Coming up, we'll meet a little boy and his mother, one of many families served by Easter Seals. But first, some background on a nonprofit organization that's been spreading help and hope for nearly a century. Bob Glowacki is the CEO of Easter Seals, Southeast Wisconsin. Bob, good to see you.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, where else can you stroll through a state park, do a little polka dancing, and help families in our own community all in one place, right?
Walk With Me is the place to do it with our friends from Polish Fest. I always give a big dziękuję out to them for being our sponsors.
Dziękuję.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm half Polish and proud to be.
Very good.
When we first met with them and talked, I said they were red and white, we were red and white. This was a match made in heaven. So for us, it's a great opportunity to let people meet our ambassadors and our families, and a great time just at Polish Fest, and for people just to enjoy the lakefront and everything that Milwaukee has to offer.
Yeah, most people have heard about Easter Seals, but they may not know who it serves and how. Perhaps give us a little background, Bob.
Easter Seals, we're turning 80 this year, and it's such an exciting time for us. It's a time where we've, in the last 7 years, had 2 different mergers where we've grown in size and we've added workforce services. We serve the lifespan from kids in their first steps in life to seniors in their last steps in life, and everything in between. We help kids with their first steps. We also help people get their first jobs, and we help a family adjust maybe in the first steps towards end of life. And it's an exciting place to be, and it's something where we're extremely proud of the services we do.
Easter Seals, the logo has a lily on it, obviously. That has special symbolism. Can people still buy seals and support Easter Seals?
You know, we're one of the few organizations named by our fundraiser, and it started out with President Roosevelt accepting the first seals back in 1934, and it became so popular that's how we got named in the 1950s. We took on that name. And yes, you can still get them direct mail. You can still get our calendars with great art from either our child participants or lilies that are drawn by people, many of them with disabilities throughout the United States.
Speaking of disabilities, let's talk about autism. Autism occurrence rates have increased dramatically due to a number of factors. Back in the 70s, 1 in 10,000 were diagnosed with autism. Today, we're looking at 1 in 68. Is Easter Seals spending more and more time with families who are dealing with autism?
Easter Seals is a national network, is the largest network of providers for people with autism and their families. So as a local level, at least 6 or 7 years ago, we saw what was happening in the autism world, and we moved into that area. So now we do individual therapies in people's homes, literally thousands of hours of therapy. And autism is something that we really need to address as a society, because not only our kids have autism, they become adults with autism. And so now some of our workforce programs are seeing adults with autism who need just a special assistance in getting through to get a job. I literally had somebody, I was meeting with just a friend of the agency, and they had a family member who had autism, but he was literally a rocket scientist. That's what his degree was in, practically. Robotics, everything else. But that kind of playing in the sandbox, being able to relate to others, that was something he was missing. Our staff spent a little time with him, just informally. We connected him with some people that we knew would be maybe sensitive to somebody being a little different. And last I heard, he was on the final step of an interview process to get a job. And so at the time, he was trying to just get a part-time job at a local retailer versus really using the skills that he'd been given. But he just needed a little help, and that's what Easter Seals is all about.
No, that spectrum is so wide. I mean, in so many years, so many decades, people went undiagnosed. And today, Easter Seals serving not only children, but as we mentioned, adults as well.
Right. Actually, through our first merger in 2005, we started serving the lifespan. So we started working, our Easter Seals in Milwaukee has always had a tradition of working with children. And when we merged, we brought in the adult services on the other side. And I think it also gives us a great perspective. So when you meet Kavi and his family, we see where Kavi is now, but we can also talk to his family about what the future may hold and the other opportunities that Easter Seals could provide, or just the hope that there's a lot There's a lot there for people with disabilities. Young children don't, many times I think doctors should stick to diagnosis and not prognosis, because many times they'll say the child's not going to walk, they're not going to talk, and yet at my office I'll be sitting in my desk and somebody's running down the hallway screaming, and that was one of those children who was told somehow they wouldn't walk and talk. But I'm used to those changes at Easter Seals.
Yeah, I imagine you've witnessed a lot of success stories at Easter Seals. I remember my son and daughter's first words, first smile, first steps. What other milestones in life should parents be watching for?
You know, it's one of the things that we can offer families out there listening right now and watching is the what's called the ASQ, and it is a online resource that we're doing with CBS Caremark, where they are able to, it's called the Ages and Stages Questionnaire. The Ages and Stages Questionnaire allows a family to go online and to just list what their son or daughter is doing or not doing, at what level, whether they are taking their first steps, whether they are babbling, whether they are able to enunciate mama or dada. And that way, a parent who might be concerned that there's a delay can get the answers they need with just in a week's time and know if there's resources. We are still, unfortunately, diagnosing autism at age 4 and 5 years old, but the first signs are usually between 18 months and 2 years. So we're missing at least 2 to 3 years of opportunity to intervene. And as you talked about success stories, you know, we have kids that already graduated our programs who have no need for special services. About 50% of the kids who come through our Birth to 3 program, and that's about 300 children every year, have no need for special services once they get to school. And as anybody who's probably sat here and talked about budgets at the school districts, special ed is an extremely expensive program. So the more intervention we do in the early end means schools have a child who's ready to learn. And what we've done in some research as a national organization is that about 1 million kids start school not ready for school, that they have a health condition or a mental challenge or a physical challenge that hasn't been diagnosed. And now it falls on the school system to try and remediate something that could have been handled years ago.
You talk about early intervention, a famous quote from the movie Titanic, make each day count. That's especially important when it comes to the first 5 years, isn't it?
Yes, Easter Seals is a national organization. Us here locally came up with a campaign called Make the First 5 Count. And the Ages and Stages Questionnaire is just one piece of that for people to recognize the importance of the early years in life, for parents to get the help that they need, but also if kids do need help, that there are resources from both the federal and the state level to help the kids get the support that they need, get them started, so that when they get to school, they're ready to learn. They're ready to be with their peers. And if they're able to do that, they're able to live a more full life. And you can only imagine some of the research we've done locally, if kids get the right support earlier, that could save up to $1 million in support costs in the future. Even somebody with a chronic or high level of need, they can still learn skills and activities that will help them to be more ready for adulthood.
Kavi and his mom will be with us shortly. He's enrolled in the Birth to 3 program. Explain how that works.
The Birth to 3 program is a federal program, or it's funded federally, and there's a number of agencies in Milwaukee County that do this service, including Easter Seals. And Birth to 3 is literally, as usual with federal government, a lot of creativity. The program serves between 0 and 3 years old, but it's early intervention services. So we provide a special education teacher, speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and if we can blend in some of the other learnings we have in autism, we do into our early intervention programs to help a child to develop the skills that they need so they get ready for school. And like I said, we're finding that at least 50% of the kids we serve are ready for school and don't need extra services. And that's, it's one of the things that make me most proud. All
right, Bob Glowacki, Easter Seals CEO, Southeast Wisconsin. We'll be back, bring you back out here in a few minutes. But first, putting a face on Easter Seals Birth to 3 program. We'll meet a local family benefiting from this early intervention when we come back. Welcome back. Our eye is on Easter Seals Walk With Me fundraising event on Friday, June 13th at the Summerfest grounds. Among the many families who will be there raising money and awareness for the local Easter Seals chapter, the Grays, Kate Gray and her son, Kavi. And your husband, LaShun, couldn't be with us today, but I know he'll be there on June 13th, walking with all of the other folks. Good to have you here today, Kate.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
You're part of a team called Kate, or I should say, guys, Give me a one shot here, okay? Thank you. All right, great. Sorry. Tell me about Kavi's Crusaders.
Sure. Kavi's Crusaders is the name of Kavi's team that will be doing the walk on June 13th. Kavi was nominated as an ambassador for Easter Seals Birth to 3 program this last January. So we're really excited for the walk. It'll be awesome. I can't wait. We have about 25 to 30 people on our team so far. I'm pushing for 50. I ordered 50 t-shirts, so
There's
Mike,
still time.
yeah, there's time, Mike. There's time.
Let's put up the website so people know where to go.
Sure.
Because I did see Kavi's Crusaders there, and the goal that you have set. And
Yes, yeah, our goal is to raise $1,000 for our team. I think last time I looked, we were at 560. So we have a few hundred more dollars to raise, but I'm confident that we can do that.
at what point did you realize that Kavi needs to see a specialist? He was born, but in November a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was born November 30th, 2011, and he had low muscle tone at birth. He was in the NICU at Waukesha Memorial Hospital for 5 days, and they actually wanted to send him over to Children's right away to get evaluated by a neurologist, but I felt pretty confident that we could handle it at home, so we waited a couple months, and by the time he was 4 months old, he had been evaluated by neurology, and we had been on board with Easter Seals.
And that's where that relationship began?
Yes, 4 months old.
And how special has it been?
Oh, I can't even tell you. I mean, words can't describe the relationship that we have with our therapists at Easter Seals. Kavi has been fortunate enough to have the same physical therapist for the whole time since he was 4 months old. She was the first one on board. She's actually become a really close family friend. She's come to every birthday party, even my birthday parties, because I adore her. He also has occupational therapy, and she started when he was about 7, 8 months old, just working on fine motor skills. And then we also have speech on board, and he was in the Birth to 3 classroom environments for a few months in the beginning of the year. But due to his recent hospitalization, we're not able to do that anymore. But we still have all therapists come into the home, so it's great.
You talk about the hospitalization. There are setbacks, sometimes a little more susceptible to things that perhaps kids who don't have this condition can get over with a little bit faster. But there's also been, he's making strides as well. You mentioned physical therapy, and Bob talked about that early intervention. How important has that been in Kavi's development?
I don't know, like Bob had mentioned earlier, the prognosis that doctors give. I'm not sure that Kavi would be able to do the things that he does without the therapists and the early intervention. For the longest time, we worked on head control because Kavi wasn't even able to hold up his head. Clearly, he is holding it up and moving it all over the place.
He's an active little boy.
Right, so that's clearly been a milestone that we accomplished. Walking, they said, you know, walking was a huge one. He's never gonna walk. You know, a lot of kids with his disorder aren't able to do those things, but Kavi, and I attribute a lot of it to Easter Seals and the work that they've put in to help us. You know, they, not only do they help Kavi, but they teach my family, you know, even my 5-year-old daughter, Lola, she plays with them and does all of the therapy with them and knows what he needs to work on for the next coming week, and will help him do that stuff.
Yeah, so not only addressing Kavi's needs, but the entire family.
The entire family is really incorporated into Easter Seals programs, yes. It's amazing. They have a lot of different events at the facility in West Allis where they invite the whole family to come so that the kids understand what's going on with their brother or sister, and it's amazing. It's an amazing program to be a part of.
Have you had a chance to meet with other families who are facing challenges of their own?
Yes. Outside of Easter Seals, I have one of my very good friends, her son has autism, and then our neighbor has cerebral palsy, and it's always a good thing for families dealing with disabilities to have a support, even if it's not in the same disability that you're familiar with. But within Easter Seals, we have connected with a few families, mostly through the school program with children with disability, and it's helpful. Support in any way that you can get when you have a disability in your family it's essential.
Yes. So what has Easter Seals meant to your family, the Grays?
It's confidence for me. I have confidence that Kavi not only will they show me and my family what Kavi can do, but they'll show Kavi what Kavi can do. I mean, after his hospitalizations, he's usually a little noodle. He can't really do much. He can't sit up, but he remembers that he can walk, that he can walk around in his walker outside if he wants to, that he can pull apart blocks, because that's what they've told him. That's what they've showed him. They've showed him his potential. So to put into words with Easter Seals, I can't do that for you, Mike. It's amazing. Yes. Do you have something you would like to add, Kavi?
Love to hear not only, love to see not only the development as far as being able to, hold up his head, but obviously the verbal skills too are developing too.
Yes. At his last IEP meeting, which is where we just review where he is in his life and what milestones that he's making, he is at an age-appropriate level for speech for a 2-year-old, which is absolutely amazing, considering they told me he would never talk. So, I mean, and I totally attribute it to Easter Seals. The speech therapist that we've been working with for the last year or so, she just sings everything. And I don't know if you remember your 2-year-olds, they love to sing.
Exactly.
And it helps their vocabulary so much. So he is constantly, his favorite song right now is actually the Frozen Let It Go, which is kind of comical because he'll bust out in tune anytime he wants.
Very good. Well, we're going to take a short break.
Sure.
And when we come back, the Grays and other families served by Easter Seals are spreading the word, walk with me. We'll have details of a Friday night walk and party along Milwaukee's lakefront. Welcome back. Milwaukee's first lakefront ethnic festival of the season is once again teaming up with Easter Seals to help local children and adults with disabilities. Walk with Me will step off Friday evening, June 13th, the opening night of Polish Fest at Meyer Festival Park. Easter Seals CEO Bob Glowacki and one of the ambassador families, Kate Gray, will be there as well. And Kate, why did you, your husband LaShawn, and of course Kazi agree to be an ambassador family for this year's Walk with Me?
Sure, it was a no-brainer, really, Mike. Just for everything that Easter Seals has done for my family and Kavi, anything that I could do to give back to them, really. And when asking us to be an ambassador, and yeah, absolutely, I'd love to.
You and other ambassador families will be there. You'll have a chance to talk with some of the folks who are coming out to walk with you. What would be your message?
My message to other families with disability is that Easter Seals goes above and beyond just the therapies and just the disability services. They really keep in touch with how the family works, what the family dynamics are. Like I said, they incorporate other family members into the services, and they know Kavi and they know his disability, and they have a really good understanding of how to help all of us help him.
Bob, obviously you and everyone else with Easter Seals and the ambassador family is very busy getting ready for the walk. What role, how important are the ambassador families to Easter Seals?
Well, when it comes down to it, you don't walk with Bob, you don't walk with Easter Seals, you walk with our families. You walk with Kavi, you walk with Sandra, you walk with Kevin, you walk with Zach, our 4 ambassadors. And you walk with their stories. And one of the things that makes this fundraiser so special, and it's one that's copied across the country in our Easter Seals network, is because it puts the spotlight on people with disabilities, kids with possibilities. That it's not just about what we do for them. It's their wonderful life story. It's that Kavi and his family said he wasn't going to walk, he wasn't going to talk. We heard him talking in the last segment. He's probably running around outside right now. Lives change when they come to Easter Seals, but as Kate put it, it's really with the partnership with the families. And so the walk is really an event to celebrate their life stories and in a sense celebrate Easter Seals with the support we need to continue these services and make them strong.
Yeah, so many walks take place Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. This is a Friday evening event along the lakefront during a celebration that's already underway. How cool is that?
That's awesome. I think it's super cool. A lot of my friends were like, it's not on Saturday, it's not on Sunday, no, it's on Friday, it's at Polish Fest the first day, it's on the lakefront. Can you get any better than that? you know, you sign up, you are registered for the walk ahead of time, you get free admission to Polish Fest. It's a total bonus.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. You've been doing this for 8 years. You've had that partnership with Polish Fest.
And it gets better every year. I mean, for the people who donate or show up that day, they can understand that Polish Fest donates the stage, they donate the time there, that really almost every dollar that we're raising is going directly into services. We're not about a cure in the future at Easter Seals, we're about serving kids and adults with disabilities right now. And the people at Polish Fest understand that, and they bend over backwards to make sure whatever they can do to lower our costs so that more of the money goes towards the good that we do, they're all for it. They're a great partner.
Yeah, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett recently kicked off a campaign, 100 miles in 100 days. Well, here's a chance. It's a 1 mile walk. It's not like it's a big physical you know, activity, but it is a family fun walk, isn't it?
This is a family event. We only go a mile right along the lakefront, and so I mean, my little ones have been with me now. They're not so little, but they've been attending since they were 6 and 7 years old. They whine about halfway through, but they get to the end. But you can't take in Milwaukee's lakefront any better than this, than walking along the state park there. It's really a treasure of our community, and for us to have our walk there among Milwaukee's skyline, it's just wonderful.
Tell me about, give us the details. When should people show up? How can they register, and how long does this thing last?
Well, the walk registration starts at 5 o'clock, and we actually have the beautiful sounds of the All-Star Super Band, 16-piece big band, that if you love the sounds of the 40s and 50s, you have to be there. They'll blow your socks away. Some of the best musicians in the city play for us, and they play for us all year round and raise $3,000 for Easter Seals. After that, the walk kicks off about 6:30. It takes about 45 minutes to complete, and then we show the thermometer that we hope is going to show over $100,000 in funds raised so that we can continue to help families next year. Really, and even between that, you can walk through the grounds, check out the culture of Polish Fest. You might stop at one of the tents for an adult beverage if you can, or otherwise you have a pierogi and you just have a good time. It's everything that's Milwaukee: sunshine, lakefront, and the beautiful Polish people.
And this is one of, I believe, 500 Walk With Me events happening. It must give you a sense of, you know, we are not alone in this, that we all have the same objectives here. I believe like $30 million was raised nationwide last year during these Walk With Me events.
Yeah,
And,
it's amazing. It's amazing how many people contribute and how many people are willing to sponsor the walkers and the ambassadors.
And social media really is making those important connections, isn't it?
It's huge. It's huge how many Facebook people I've gotten to join our team just off Facebook, and how many people have like donated just because of Facebook and Twitter, and it's amazing. Social media is really helping people raise money for good causes.
For folks who are just joining us late, your team, Kavi's Crusaders.
Yes,
All right.
Kavi's
And
Crusaders.
to learn more about them, how can people find out about Kavi's Crusaders?
You can go online on Easter Seals websites, and then you just click on how to donate, I believe, or participation, and then it'll link you to Walk With Me. You just choose Milwaukee, and Kavi's cute little picture will be there with Kavi's Crusaders. Just join the team.
And Bob, if people can't make the walk, obviously there are things going on year-round that Easter Seals is doing to help families like the Grays.
Yes, we will always take individual donations, or again, like if they couldn't make the walk, they can still support Kavi's team or any one of our ambassadors, and to tell their families they're behind them. I think that donation means so much more, even more. I mean, having friends donate is wonderful. They know your child, they know what you're about. But to see absolute strangers say, we believe in Kavi's story, and we're going to make a $50, a $25, $100 donation, that'd be pretty awe-inspiring of what they hear here, and we're so pleased that Channel 58 has been our partner in promoting this event. They've been a great partner of ours throughout the year, even in supporting our autism campaign. So we want to thank Channel 58 for all your work as a CBS affiliate.
Well, thank you very much for that. Kate, Bob mentioned Kavi's story. What do you hope the next chapter in Kavi's story will be in the year ahead?
In the year ahead, right now he's enrolled in the Birth to 3 program. So at 3 years old, we will no longer be in the Birth to 3 program with Easter Seals. But his care coordinator is actually doing a lot of research for me right now to find different outlets and different therapies and where to actually send him to school. So again, it goes back to they have us covered for not just the 3 years, but beyond that. They're looking out for Kavi beyond his time with Easter Seals. So within the next year, you know, it's hard to say. I don't want to say anything that might not come true, but one of the goals that we have in therapy right now is for him to be walking outside in his walker. And actually last weekend he was riding a tricycle. So, you know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
We hope that for Kavi, you, your husband LaShawn as well. Thank you so much, Bob Glowacki and Kate Gray for joining us, and Kavi as well. Good luck at the upcoming event. Again, the Walk With Me, June 13th, Friday evening at the Polish Fest celebration, Meyer Festival Park, the Summerfest grounds along Milwaukee's lakefront. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with a final word in just a moment. You're watching Eye to Eye. Big thank you to today's guests, Easter Seals Southeast Wisconsin CEO Bob Glowacki, along with Kate and Kavi Gray, for sharing important information about Friday's Walk With Me fundraiser to benefit local families with disabilities. CBS 58 is the sponsor of the annual event that steps off at 6:30 Friday, June 13th. Registration begins at 5. That's over at Polish Fest at the Summerfest grounds. Be sure to watch the CBS 58 News tonight at 5:30 and 10, and join me weekdays for the news at noon. We appreciate your viewership and hope you'll join us again next Sunday for Eye to Eye.